As of 2018, there are a staggering 102 million miles of roads winding their way across the planet. Most of them, let's be honest, are about as exciting as a soggy Weetabix, smooth, straight, and designed to lull drivers into a sort of automotive coma. But a select few, just a handful, are not content with merely getting you from A to B. No, these roads want to test your mettle, rattle your bones, and remind you that Mother Nature, and occasionally mankind, can be utterly bonkers. These are the roads where you cling to the wheel because the next corner might be your last. Where avalanches, earthquakes, and walls of water are all, quite literally, just around the bend. Roads that snake along razor-thin cliffs with no guardrails, and a drop so sheer you'll need a parachute, not a seatbelt. So, if you think you're brave, or just a little bit mad, let's begin today's video because here are the top 15 most extreme roads in the world. Now, if I told you there's a road in Norway where the sea itself tries to wash your car away, you'd probably say I was exaggerating. But welcome to the Atlantic Ocean Road, a 5-mile strip of tarmac that leaps across a chain of tiny islands, connecting them with 7 bridges that look like they were designed by a roller coaster engineer with a death wish. The pièce de résistance is the Sichuan-Tibet Bridge, nicknamed the Bridge to Nowhere, which seems to defy physics as it arches steeply skyward, then plummets down as if you're driving straight into the abyss. But it's not just the engineering that'll make your knuckles white. When the North Atlantic decides to throw a tantrum, waves taller than your car come crashing over the road, reducing visibility to zero and turning your windscreen wipers into little more than decoration. Forget aquaplaning. Here, it's more like seaplaning. And yet, amidst all this chaos, there's a stark, wild beauty. Mountains looming in the distance, the endless gray of the ocean, and the raw power of nature on full display. It's breathtaking and terrifying in equal measure. You're just as likely to stop for a photo as you are to say your last words. Still, if you fancy yourself as a bit of a Viking, this is the road trip for you. Next, we're off to the Andes of Peru, where the Cotahuasi Canyon Road defies sense and sanity. Picture this, a wild, unpaved track carved into the mountainside, clinging to the edge of the Cotahuasi Canyon, the deepest canyon in the world, twice as deep as the Grand Canyon itself. The surface is more rock garden than roadway, a jigsaw of stones and dust that shakes your fillings loose with every mile. At over 11,000 feet above sea level, the altitude alone will have you gasping for breath, assuming the drop to the river below hasn't already stolen it. Landslides and rockfalls are a daily threat, and the hairpin bends are so tight you'll need a spotter just to make it round without tumbling into oblivion. And, let's not forget, the weather. Scorching sun 1 minute, freezing fog the next. This road isn't just a test of your vehicle's suspension, it's a trial by canyon, a gauntlet run for only the most intrepid adventurers. Those who brave it are rewarded with views so stunning you'll forget, just for a second, how close you are to disaster. Deep in the heart of Taiwan's mountains, there's a road that threads its way through marble cliffs and tunnels so narrow, you'll swear you're squeezing through the eye of a needle. The Taroko Gorge Road, also known as the Central Cross Island Highway, is a marvel of engineering and a nightmare of maintenance. Typhoons, earthquakes, and landslides routinely conspire to close the road, leaving drivers stranded or forced to turn back. The path itself is barely wide enough for 2 vehicles to pass. And yet, buses, trucks, and scooters all jostle for space. Blind corners abound, and the overhanging cliffs drip with water, making the surface slick and treacherous. The sheer drops on one side are matched only by the towering rock walls on the other. In some spots, you drive through tunnels, literally hacked from the marble by hand, with shafts of sunlight illuminating the mist and moss. It's a place of almost supernatural beauty, but one wrong move, and you'll become a permanent part of the scenery. Only in Taiwan could a drive be both this stunning and this utterly terrifying. Stretching from Pakistan to China, the Karakoram Highway is an epic high-altitude odyssey through some of the world's most dramatic landscapes. They call it the 8th wonder of the world, and not just because of the scenery, towering peaks, glaciers, and turquoise rivers, but because building it cost over 1,000 lives. The road climbs to dizzying heights, reaching over 15,000 feet, where the air is thin and the margin for error thinner still. Earthquakes, avalanches, and landslides are a daily hazard. In winter, the highway disappears under a blanket of snow, and in summer, the melting ice can wash entire sections away. There are stretches where the tarmac gives way to gravel, and the only thing between you and a 1,000-foot drop is, well, nothing at all. Yet despite its dangers, the Karakoram Highway is a lifeline for the people of these remote valleys, a testament to human grit and determination. It's a place where history, culture, and nature collide in a spectacular, and sometimes deadly, fashion. If you thought the Karakoram Highway was nerve-wracking, wait until you drive the Fairy Meadows Road. This is not so much a road as a dare written in gravel and dust. Clinging to the side of a mountain, it's barely wide enough for a single vehicle, and there are no guardrails. Just a sheer drop that goes on forever. The surface is loose, the rocks shift under your tires, and the margin for error is precisely zero. To make matters worse, the last section is so dangerous, you can't even drive. You park, gather your courage, and finish the journey on foot. A trek through forests and across rickety bridges, with Nanga Parbat, the world's 9th highest mountain, looming above like a silent judge. The air's thin, the views are spectacular, and every step is a reminder that you're a guest here, at the mercy of the mountains. It's the sort of place where only the truly adventurous, or the criminally insane, ever set foot. But make it to the end and you're rewarded with one of the most breathtaking sights on Earth. In China's Hunan province, there's a road that looks like it was designed by a lunatic with a thing for hairpins. The 99 Bend Road to Heaven is exactly what it sounds like, a twisting, turning strip of tarmac that climbs up Tianmen Mountain in a series of 99 hairpin bends, each one tighter than the last. The road clings to the cliffside, winding its way up to Heaven's Gate, a natural rock arch that's been a sacred site for centuries. Driving here is not just a test of skill but of nerves. The bends come thick and fast, and the slightest lapse in concentration could see you plummeting hundreds of feet. Tour buses and sports cars alike attempt the ascent, engines screaming in protest as they claw their way skyward. And if you make it to the top, there's a staircase with 999 steps just to finish you off. But the views? Absolutely out of this world. Cloud-shrouded peaks, dizzying drops, and the sense that you're climbing to meet the gods themselves. Imagine living in a remote mountain village, cut off from the world by sheer cliffs and impassable terrain. Most people would give up, not the villagers of Guoliang in China. Armed with nothing more than hammers, chisels, and a stubborn refusal to be beaten, they spent 5 years carving a tunnel through the mountainside, by hand. The result is the Guoliang Tunnel, a 1.2-kilometer stretch of road barely wide enough for a car, with windows cut into the cliff that offer vertigo-inducing views. The tunnel's rough-hewn walls drip with water, and the road surface is uneven and slick. On one side, solid rock. On the other, a drop straight to the valley floor. There are no barriers, no modern safety features, just the knowledge that every inch was won by sheer determination. It's both a triumph of human spirit and a stark reminder of the dangers of living on the edge, literally. No list of extreme roads would be complete without Bolivia's infamous Yungas Road, better known as Death Road. This single-lane track snakes through the rainforest, perched on cliffs up to 2,000 feet high, with nothing to stop you from plunging into the abyss, but a few tufts of grass and a silent prayer. Fog, rain, and landslides are constant companions, turning the surface into a mudslide with every downpour. For decades, this road claimed hundreds of lives every year. Crosses and shrines line the route, silent witnesses to the danger. Cyclists from around the world come here to test their bravery, or their stupidity, racing down the mountain at breakneck speed. Trucks, buses, and cars all jostle for space. And the local custom is to drive on the left, giving the driver a better view of the drop. It's as thrilling as it is chilling, a ride you'll never forget if you make it to the bottom. Hidden away in New Zealand's South Island is Skipper's Canyon Road, a twisting, turning track that was hacked into the rock during the gold rush of the 19th century. The road is barely wide enough for a single vehicle, with vertical cliffs on one side and a sheer drop into the shot-over river on the other. There are no guardrails, and passing another vehicle requires nerves of steel, or a willingness to reverse for a mile. Rain turns the gravel surface to muck, and the wind can whip through the canyon, making even the hardiest driver question their life choices. Rental car companies won't insure you here, and for good reason. One wrong move and your car becomes an expensive addition to the landscape below. But, for those brave enough to tackle it, Skipper's Canyon offers some of the most dramatic scenery in New Zealand, a wild, rugged beauty that's as unforgiving as it is unforgettable. High in the Indian Himalayas, the Zoji La Pass is less a road and more a seasonal dare. At over 11,500 feet, it connects the Kashmir Valley with Ladakh, but it's only open for a few months each year. The rest of the time, it's buried under snow and ice, or blocked by landslides so massive they could swallow a convoy whole. When it is open, the surface is muddy, rutted, and prone to giving way beneath your wheels. Trucks, buses, and livestock all compete for space. And when the weather turns, visibility drops to nothing. The drop-offs are sheer, the air is thin, and the sense of isolation is total. Yet for many, this road is a vital link, a lifeline across the roof of the world. It's a journey that requires patience, skill, and nerves of steel, and a keen awareness that in the Himalayas, you're never really in control. Stretching 414 miles into the Arctic wilderness, the James-Dalton Highway in Alaska is not for the faint of heart. Built to serve the Trans-Alaska Pipeline, it's a remote, icy, and often desolate track where truckers are the only other souls you'll see for hours, maybe even days. Temperatures can plunge to minus 60 degrees Fahrenheit, and snowstorms can appear out of nowhere, reducing visibility to zero and turning the road into an ice rink. There are no towns, no services, and no help if you break down. The surface is a rough mix of gravel and mud, with potholes big enough to swallow a small car. Moose and bears meander across your path, and the wind can howl through the tundra, shaking even the biggest rigs. It's a place where preparation is everything and the margin for error is measured in degrees of frostbite. Still, for those who crave adventure, there's nothing quite like the Dalton. Connecting Chengdu and Sichuan to Lhasa in Tibet, the Sichuan-Tibet Highway is a journey through the very heart of the Himalayas. It's notorious for landslides, avalanches, and altitude sickness, as it climbs to over 16,000 feet in places. The road twists and turns through some of the most spectacular and treacherous mountain scenery in the world. Sections of the highway are little more than gravel tracks, prone to disappearing altogether during heavy rains. Rivers burst their banks, and rockfalls block the way without warning. Local drivers navigate the hazards with a mixture of skill and fatalism, while tourists grip the seats, white-knuckled, hoping for the best. The rewards, though, are immense. Views of snow-capped peaks, deep gorges, and the chance to witness a way of life unchanged for centuries. It's a road that demands respect, and maybe a shot of yak butter tea at the end. Linking South Africa and Lesotho, the Sani Pass is a steep, rocky climb up the Drakensberg Mountains. Only 4x4 vehicles are allowed, and for good reason. The track is littered with loose stones, deep ruts, and switchbacks so sharp, you'll wonder if your car has suddenly developed a fear of heights. The weather is unpredictable, with fog, snow, and rain all possible in a single afternoon. The drop-offs are vertigo-inducing, and the only thing separating you from disaster is the skill of your driver, and maybe a prayer or two. Yet, at the top, you're rewarded with sweeping views across 2 countries, and the chance to enjoy a drink at Africa's highest pub. It's a drive that's equal parts challenge and reward, a rite of passage for adventurous souls who prefer their roads with a side of adrenaline. On the lush island of Maui, the Hana Highway lures drivers with the promise of paradise, and then throws 600 hairpin turns and 59 narrow bridges into the mix. The road hugs the coastline, winding through rainforest, past waterfalls, and along cliffs that drop straight into the Pacific. It's as beautiful as it is demanding. The tarmac is often slick with rain and landslides can block the way with little warning. The bridges are so narrow that only one car can cross at a time, and the locals have little patience for hesitant tourists. Yet, despite the challenges, the rewards are endless. Hidden beaches, tropical flowers, and the sense that you're discovering a secret corner of the world. It's the ultimate test for drivers who want their road trips with a side of the surreal, and who don't mind a bit of car sickness along the way. Finally, we head to Italy, where the Stelvio Pass twists its way through the Alps in a series of 48 hairpin bends that would make even the most seasoned rally driver sweat. The road climbs to nearly 9,000 feet, offering panoramic views that are as likely to take your breath away as the altitude itself. The tarmac is smooth, but the corners come thick and fast, one after the other, in a dizzying sequence that leaves little room for error.